seasoned vet, just holding off people, laying the ball off, making decisions, the right decisions all the way through it. Top class performance in a game. As I said, before the result came out, everyone was saying this is a really tough game, and they made it look easy.
They did make it look easy, and it puts them straight back into that top 8 as well. So in contention for automatic qualification. But again, it's so tenuous and it's so close between all of the sides, with Arsenal sort of fancying themselves again, because that's really been the problem, isn't it? You've seen sort of signs of little weaknesses, maybe sort of a lack of confidence. But today you saw that when they get back in their groove, they really can give anyone a go.
Without doubt. You know, last season, we obviously they got very close to reaching Man City, and Bayern Munich put them out of the Champions League. And it's been coming. You can see the performances are there, but there's been ill discipline, there's been red cards, there's been injuries. It's looked like excuses. But when you see all the best players on the pitch tonight, and without, you know, you're probably maybe Ben White away from that being Arsenal's best team. And if you look at Timber's performance tonight, now he's having something to say about that. This is a very impressive performance, and Arsenal looked like they had far too much for Sporting here.
Yeah, they certainly did. OK, well, that's tonight. We're going to do it all again tomorrow, by the way, very shortly. Let's take a check on all the results then on Tuesday night. Some big scores, 40 goals we saw throughout the course of the evening. In the early kickoffs, Milan beat Slovan Bratislava 3-2, a big win for Atletico Madrid as well. Barcelona beat Brest, a milestone for Robert Lewandowski, scoring his 100th Champions League goal. Only Messi and Ronaldo have been able to do that. Victory for Bayern, but for PSG, my goodness, they just have 4 points from 5 games. A win also for Inter, a big victory for Bayer Leverkusen. What a night for Manchester City. They were 3-0 up in the 53rd minute. Feyenoord came back, and Manchester City get just a point from that. It finished 3-3 at the Etihad. Of course, Sporting lost 5-1 to Arsenal. A huge win for Atalanta as well. They were away at Young Boys. They beat them by 6-1. Let's see how the table is shaping up. Of course, it's still match day 5. There's still another night to go in this match round as well. But Inter are currently top. Arsenal are back in the top 8. But look at PSG. They are languishing in 26th. For Arsenal, then really important to put to bed that terrible away form in the Champions League in recent games. Star boy Bukayo Saka did play his part today, scored a goal, didn't he? We're going to hear from him now. He's with Becky Ives.
Sporting looked positively average at times tonight. How did you manage to do that?
Well, we spoke about it before the game. We know they haven't lost here this season, and they've been a top team, but you know, we believe in ourselves. We just have to be us and go with confidence, and today we did that. Everyone was top. Anyone could have got this, and yeah, I'm really proud of all the boys today.
Was that a bit of a pressure penalty just at that moment in the game? How important was it that you buried that?
It was important, yeah, but I didn't really feel the pressure. I was confident, so yeah.
What's it like for you having Martin Odegaard back? Because that link-up play down the right-hand side, does he enable your game?
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player, and the day he returned, there was a big smile on my face, and you can see the chemistry we have, how much I enjoy playing with him. So I'm happy he's back, and I hope he stays fit for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. And look, Arsenal back in the Champions League, back with a win. Does this feel where Arsenal should be?
Yeah, this is where we belong. So we've showed the level we can play at, and we need to continue like this.
Bukayo, thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, it's back where they belong, as Bukayo Saka says. And do you know what? On that away record, Arsenal hadn't won away in the Champions League in their last 5 games. They hadn't scored away in the Champions League in their last 4. This was huge. This equalled their biggest ever away win in the Champions League, which was 5-1 against Inter back in 2003. Are we now seeing, as we heard from Bukayo Saka, an Arsenal side that does belong in this competition, that is as good as some of the old Arsenal sides that we've seen previously? Well,
they're building, aren't they? And they're certainly building their reputation. I just feel that at the moment, I mean, we talked to Saka there, talked about belief, and there were occasions this season when you thought, OK, the world was against them a little bit. They kept that belief. And I think Odegaard is a player that's come in and really opened up that creative channel for Saka, and those two in tandem are as good as anything in Europe on that right-hand side of that pitch. They really are that good. So long may that continue. It's one performance, one result, and they've got to take that forward now for the rest of this to try to qualify for the next stages of the Champions League. And as Rio said, it's going to be 7 or 8 games now where they're going to have to win on the bounce to put Liverpool under any kind of pressure in the Premier League. They're the rules. That's what happens. It's a tough league they're in. they have to keep winning. But tonight will be a tremendous boost for their confidence.
We've talking about, and rightly so, about how much this team missed Odegaard. But let's not undercut or undervalue the importance of Bukayo Saka. Yeah. Because he had the armband at the end of the game there. He could be Arsenal captain without a shadow of a doubt. He doesn't need the armband. He's a leader in this team already. He leads them with his ability to take the ball all the time. Under pressure or no pressure, he wants the ball and wants to make something happen. His goals return, his goals and assists, consistency is through the roof. And he's someone, again, who England are going to really have to rely upon in years to come. But here at Arsenal, he's just like the whole place is built for him.
He has carried the club for a number of years, by the way. But he needs help around him. And, of course, when you see that in big numbers, of course, I think there's lots of mentions here tonight as well. I think Partey is somebody that the fans weren't sure about. I think he's probably having his best season. Timber was away last year with the injury. He looked really secure on that right-hand side. The two centre-backs.
Does Ben White come back in the team if he's fit with the way Timber's playing?
Well, it's interesting. He's had surgery on his knee. There's competition for places. I think they're all going to be needed anyway at some point. There's so many games, isn't there, to get through. But it's now shaping up the squad. It's still work to do, though, because Liverpool, what are they, 8, 9 points ahead of Arsenal? Yeah. So in the Premier League, you turn your attention to that this weekend, playing against West Ham, who somehow beat Newcastle away from home, which now is not an easy thing to do. So there's never an easy game for them, but they've got to just keep in that mode. And I think that does a lot for their confidence tonight.
There's nothing like a boost of a big midweek win, especially at the highest level in the Champions League against a side like Sporting, who we said pre-match, they were the form team in the competition. And when you see how Arsenal performed in those opening exchanges, in the opening 45 minutes, creating those opening 2 goals down that right-hand side, that was key. And that is Saka, that is Odegaard, and as you mentioned, that's Timber. Yeah,
and this is, again, you notice it even more because he's not been there, Odegaard, but he comes out there. And, again, one big detail in the game today, crosses create havoc, pandemonium in opposite opponents' boxes. You cross the ball, you create chances, I'm telling you. And here, again, that's the first cross. There's 3 crosses in the first half, all result in goals. And it's just fabulous play of overloads in areas, but then anticipating the ball coming into the box. And, as I said, Havertz, I thought even say, his movement, running, creating space for other players.
Doesn't he? Into position. Yeah. Very available. Everyone's played their part there tonight. Yeah. So I think that's Martinelli is important as well, because sometimes in front of goal it looks like he's snatching things a little bit. That was a nice little tuck away for him. But again, it's confidence boost for him.
Absolutely. Everyone played their part. Everyone raised their game. They did what they do best, and something that Arsenal do best as well, or do very well, is set pieces and scoring from them. And Gabriel is one of those players who always seems to pop up.
We've gone a bit quiet on set pieces in recent weeks, so this will be good for the coach, the set piece coach. And the ball in is absolutely delicious. Declan Rice was asked to do this around about Christmas time last year. He came on to set pieces, and since then, I mean, the amount of times he delivers like that is first class. Gabriel.
We're really talking about the goals scored. Raya made 8 saves today, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's played his part as well in this team, and he's coming up and standing up as a really key component in this side as well. Great personality to come in the circumstances he did and still produce performances. And now he's an outright number 1. So any great team, any team wanting a challenge for any trophies needs a really good goalkeeper, and he's really turned into one.
Yeah, exactly. That was an inspired move, wasn't it, from Mikel Arteta? He knew what he was doing when he brought in David Raya. You know, at half-time, we said, look, they're 3-0 up. This is going brilliantly. Martin, you're always a little bit nervous when it comes to Arsenal, and you were right to be, because as soon as that second half kicked off, 47 minutes in, Sporting go and do this.
Yeah, they did, and we knew that because the City game, they scored 2 goals in quick succession, 2 goals in 3 minutes, and you wondered if it was going to be the same sort of evening. Calafiori there gets done a little bit, early movement to the near post, he can't get there. There's 1 or 2 players not reacting quick enough. And then you thought, hold on, is this going to be, look, let's get back into position.
You were on your knees at this moment, under this table, under this desk.
I had every confidence.
We needed studio cam, didn't we?
Putting you back on your chair.
I realised there was a lot of, let's say, not Arsenal fans in the studio when that went in. A lot of cheers around me. But Arsenal overcame that, and in the end, they were completely dominant. You know, there was never any scares after that.
Yeah, and that's it. They were absolutely dominant. I mean, let's take a look at the penalty incident now. That one came shortly after. I suppose there's no arguments here, Rio.
No, there wasn't. But again, comes from that right-hand side, coming inside the pitch. Odegaard at the centre of everything. And I couldn't believe the reaction of the Sporting players here, they couldn't believe the penalty was given. When you see it there in slow motion,
Well, two of them involved.
He kicks only the calf of Odegaard, and this guy steps up, no doubts
Pressure
at all.
pen.
Yeah, no doubts. Side netting, look, no keeper's getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they made sure of it, as if it wasn't already, with Leandro Trossard coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good shot there as well. 2 substitutes involved, and Trossard just staying on side. Times it nicely. I mean, look, really smacks that hard, and then he just tucks it away. So good for the squad players coming on. Keeps that spirit going. Everybody playing their part now. They're going to be needed between now and the end of the season. A lot of work to do.
Sporting, by the way, Amorim gone, and then gets smashed 5-1 like that. Wow! Imagine the newspapers back over there in Portugal. We'll be going crazy.
Yeah. Well, this is the interesting part, because we talked about the foundations being laid by Ruben Amorim, and actually João Pereira maybe not having to tinker too much. But today what they saw was a lesson by Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal really did their homework, though, in the way that they played the game, the tactics, the overloads they created in midfield. They couldn't really engage. They never really got tight enough to Arsenal, and took every opportunity that came their way. So, no, you'd expect them now to bounce back, but nonetheless, without their manager, there's 1 or 2 players in there feeling a bit wounded after that performance tonight. So, you know, it's going to be tricky after them to deal with this.
Yeah, do you know what? We talked pre-match about Victor Gyökeres, how to keep him quiet. He's the man who is on everyone's lips, is the player. You know, every season it seems that there's a big number 9 who's coming up and who's going to have him. Arsenal did a job on him today, didn't they? Yeah,
but we mentioned before the game and showed his strengths, but his strengths, we spoke about, played into the strengths of the 2 centre-halves he was up against. And that's what he would find in the Premier League week in, week out. 2 big, strong, quick centre-halves majority of the time. And can he deal with them? It wasn't until Gabriel went off that he actually got a bit of joy against Kivor, because a player who's not as quick and not as strong. But these 2 centre-halves are 2 of the best as a partnership, and they didn't give him an ounce the whole game that they were on the pitch together. They're there. This is where he's been crucifying teams in those areas, running the channels. These guys look supremely comfortable and confident doing that. And so, have I seen enough to say that I think he can come to the Premier League and be a success? I'm not saying he wouldn't, but I'd say you'd need to see more than what we saw today, definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think, you know, credit to the Arsenal boys. They rose to the challenge, and they are quick, strong, mobile, and they dealt with pretty well everything that he put his way. Kivor came on, had a little bit of an issue. You can see that. But he wasn't able to bully them. And even with this shot here, a bit wild, maybe trying too hard. They didn't necessarily give him an awful lot of the ball. There again, he's shooting really early because he doesn't fancy it, does he? Taking on Gabriel. So I think they showed their quality tonight. But your confidence is shot by that point, isn't it? Because you're not able to do what you do as a striker.
With someone who scored the amount of goals he scored this year, you can't lose confidence.
33 in 25 appearances.
Yeah, you can't lose confidence after 45 minutes. So it's just that sometimes when you're up against somebody, you go, you know what, I actually don't feel that my powers, my superpowers, are stronger than theirs. And then that does sap confidence a little bit. But you would have thought that, listen, that's when you have to find other ways. You can't be one-dimensional if you're going to come and be a top player, top number 9. There has to be different. Harry Kane, Lewandowski just got 100 goals in the Champions League. They find different ways to score goals. And he'll have to do that at the top level to be considered one of the top players. But he's got time still.
He's got there, Darren Fletcher describing Martin Keown sitting here in his smoking jacket, feet up, purring at that Arsenal performance. Take it away. Let's take a look at the goals.
Well, it's been a very confident performance, very slick. Magnificent in that first half, actually. I mean, OK, I'm not a fan of the 3-4-3 system to play against, but I mean, the way that Arsenal are just passing this ball down this right-hand side, particularly, we talked about it before the game, 2 crosses, 2 goals. And there's Martinelli just being patient. Look at these players here. Look, they're all coming to the party, Rio. 4 of them, there's 5 players here against 4. And it's the +1s. You know, where's that +1 on the pitch? They keep finding it on the right, and then the ball comes across, and it's a tap-in for Martinelli.
Yeah, you see the young 17-year-old wing back there. He's more of an attacking player. And this is what happens. They go to sleep sometimes in these situations. Doesn't anticipate it as well as Martinelli, and you have to say Martinelli done well doing that. But I think Odegaard's been the difference. He's been superb today, and we should have covered him before the game, Martin.
Yeah, we should have done that. You know, the lovely little ball in there though for Partey, I have to say. Saka gets there with his pace and just threads it across, and then it's a little tap in once more.
Odegaard, that's what he does though. We talked about him before the game. They're creating that overload in that area on the right-hand side. He hovers around there, and players come around him. They get around him, and because they know something's going to happen. And you see here, Araujo, he's been given a nightmare from Saka all game, and then he loses Gabriel for the goal. This is his third header of the season from corners.
Yeah.
Quality of the ball, though, isn't it? Look at the quality of the ball.
Great ball from Declan Rice.
Begging to be headed.
Great ball, but great movement. It doesn't matter if it's a great... You need good movement, and Gabriel's movement there was tremendous.
Yeah, and he is so good on those set pieces. And look at that, adding insult to injury with poor Victor Gyökeres's celebration as well. So, more of the same, guys, we think, for the second half?
I can imagine. They have to be professional. I imagine they'll come out and they'll...
Well, we saw what Sporting did to City, and you were sat in that studio, that very seat, just a few weeks ago when they won 4-1 second half. Totally different performance. So they're going to have to need something like that to get back in.
Yeah, absolutely. OK, well, what a start it's been.